Hi, good morning everyone. Let me know everyone's...
I feel like the Blues Brothers, we've got the same shirts on again. Scott and I, yeah. Almost branded out, mate, yeah.
Everyone's good? Okay, well, good morning Townsville, and it's wonderful to be here again today. This is my third day here, starting off the year, and it's wonderful to be here with a fantastic new announcement. And you know, I think it was just over a year ago we talked about the demolition happening here for 1300 Smiles, and we were talking about what is the best use for this land. And today we're able to tell the residents of this great city that this will be the home of the brand new police academy for Townsville. This is excellent news. I'm so delighted here to have the Commissioner, our Deputy Commissioner, Minister Scott Stewart and Aaron Harper, and I know Aaron in particular is over the moon today. So we put the $30 million in for stage one, and that should be commencing construction this year, but now we're announcing that this whole site will be home to a brand new police academy. And what the government has given the green light today too is for the business case for the development of that. I'd like to see that business case done as quickly as possible to make sure that we can set in train all of the funding requirements that are absolutely needed. And our economy is going so well. Remember I talked about the other day about how well the Townsville economy is doing. Well, the Queensland economy is booming, and it's about time that our police get the necessary facilities that they need here in Townsville. It's a big boost, it's a good investment in Townsville and the region and the economy, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here today to join with the Commissioner in making this announcement. So I'll hand over to the Commissioner, we'll hear from everyone else and then we'll take questions. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Premier, and good morning, and what an absolute pleasure to be in Townsville for this announcement. I was just saying to the Premier that this really is something so exciting for the Queensland Police Service. The Academy is 25 years old. That's 25 years that police have been in there, but the buildings and the infrastructure is a lot older than that and not purpose-built for policing and for training. So we will make this a custom fit for the QPS and for our training, and it will be world-class. But as the Premier announced, this is adding on to what already is a police facility, with Kerwin Police Station going into the area, Tactical Crime Squad, our Rapid Action Patrol, as well as Police Link. So we are really looking forward to doing the business case. Premier, the business case has started, just so you know. So it is something really exciting for the Queensland Police Service in terms of capacity as well as capability, but also the fact that it is in Townsville. We've always been committed to having an academy here. We put through a lot of recruits in Townsville, and that is to service central Queensland and the northern part of the state. So it is incredibly important that we are connected to this part of the world and that we maintain our academy in this part of the world as well. So thank you to the government, thank you Premier, an exciting announcement today. Thank you.
Who's going next?
Yeah, you go, mate.
Well,
This
thank
is
you
your
very
baby.
much. Well, fantastic to have the Premier and the Commissioner in town today on this announcement of the new academy going into this site. It will be fit for purpose. Of course, we're very proud to have the North Queensland Police Academy here, particularly in Thuringow. You know, we know that the community holds our police and emergency services in very high regard, not only in keeping the community safe, but also particularly for the work they've done in disaster response. And we just have to cast our mind back, of course, to the 2019 flood. So a fantastic investment for our police. One of the things I've been excited to see on the artist impression is it pays a nod to the old stadium. That parade ground will, you know, certainly pay a nod to it, and I'm working with the Cowboys CEO, see if we can, with the Commissioner and the Prem, see if we can get some naming of the old parts of the building that hold that legacy that is so dear to North Queensland, and of course being the original home to the Cowboys. So looking forward to seeing construction of it, and I certainly welcome this magnificent investment into Thuringow.
Well, a great announcement again from the Palaszczuk government. This is about backing our police yet again. We know that they get the resources that they need to do their job. Now they're going to get the training facility that meets modern policing. So we have heard already that we will see state-of-the-art world's best actually here, right in North Queensland. So when it comes to our police force, it is the Palaszczuk government who will continue to back our police, to make sure they got everything that they need, the most modern training, the best training facilities. This is about investing into our police who keep our community safe each and every day.
Deputy Commissioner?
Yeah. Thanks, Premier and Commissioner. Really wonderful announcement. I'm probably a bit biased because I'm a resident of Townsville. I live here. I grew up in this part of the world. So to see this kind of facility being built, not only from a operational perspective, the Commissioner touched on it before, having all of those units co-located is a real game changer for us. Being able to coordinate across different sections who at the moment are in different areas across the city is such a benefit. Also, the location we're in is such a central location with great access through the ring road and the other road networks that we have. The academy itself, the old faithful, which is now a quarter of a century old that we've been using it, it is an old facility. Not really fit for purpose. It was only 2 or 3 weeks ago I was out there to advise the community that we had 61 new recruits starting. And I can tell you now the buildings are bursting at the seam, and that's because there are so many recruits out there. One of our largest intakes in the history of that academy. And going forward, as we, and I want everyone out there to try and talk to their families and friends and tell them what a great job being a police officer is. Please come and join our wonderful agency, our wonderful organisation, and we want to fill that academy up with new recruits and help out our communities in North Queensland, far North Queensland, and indeed across the rest of the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, happy to take some questions on this first. Yeah.
Any idea what's happening with the old facility at Belgian Gardens at all?
Well, the business case will look at that, but we're expecting that the business case should come in. We've allocated the first 30 million, should come in between 40 and 60 million. So it's a roughly $100 million investment we expect into this facility.
And just wanting to confirm as well with this precinct, is it just only for policing?
Yes, it's police. Yes, solely for police. And like we said, state-of-the-art facility. So hopefully that also means, Commissioner, we can get more recruits coming through as well.
Yes.
Just to confirm, that old academy
Yes.
site, that's state-owned, and have you considered
Yes.
maybe possibilities for housing or anything like that?
Well, we'll look at all of that as part of the business case. So that work, as the Commissioner said, is already underway. And of course, we'll be looking at how we can utilise that site.
Is the government still on track to grow the service by 1,450 officers?
Yes, that's my understanding. I might get the Commissioner to respond to that.
Thanks. As you know, that has been challenging. We, like any other department, are affected by what's happening in the employment at the moment. So whilst I'm still hopeful, it certainly has been challenging. Before Christmas, the pipeline had increased dramatically over the previous year. So I will get some additional figures on that. We are hopeful, but I must say, with everything at the moment, it has been challenging.
How many officers does the QPS currently have?
There's 12,500 officers in the QPS, and that was to grow by 1,450 over a 5-year period. Other challenges that we haven't faced in the past, we recruited heavily in the 80s, and they come to what is their retirement age at the moment. So where the attrition rate had increased slightly, as well as that retirement and growth, it will be challenging, but we are hoping to get there. We're looking at new and different initiatives, and some of those in the past where you had to complete the ASA test, which is an online initial test. Everyone had to do that. If you have a degree now, you don't have to do that. We're also paying for the ASA test. We're paying for the fitness test. So all of these things actually have increased the numbers. We've dropped slightly the age, which is only a minor number of attracts a minor number of people, but that also is incredibly important. And recruiting heavily. The next few months, you will see publicly our campaign come out as well. So that will be happening. So it's all of those things that we're hoping that will really, change what we're experiencing at the moment into the future. Population growth is just one aspect of it. That probably isn't the challenge. It's the labour market challenge at the moment.
I know the QPS cancelled one of its recruit training periods in Brisbane late last year due to low enrolments, but you say we've got record numbers.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that is correct. Last year we put through the largest squad ever. So normally here when we put squads through it's around 48, 50, but we actually had 61 go through, so which was absolutely brilliant. So we did cancel one, definitely. That's not just experienced by us, it's just a recruiting challenge across the country. And in fact, when us commissioners get together, we all poach from each other, and Queensland does very well because most people want to live in Queensland. So I can't complain about that. But certainly, in terms of that, that is correct. That was our biggest squad ever, and the largest amounts that we've had coming through this academy.
Commissioner, just on the arrest and extradition now of Rajwinder Singh as well, can you talk to me about that investigation by QPS officers and your thoughts on that and how good that investigation is?
I think I said this at the time when we found him in India towards the end of the last year. That was just a truly amazing investigation. That took years, patience, and I know some people were getting very impatient, wanting those things to happen very quickly, but sometimes it's so important, well, more often than not, to be comprehensive in those investigations, and that's certainly what they were. And yes, he will be coming back to face those charges. And I think that team, you know, I've had a brief from the investigators and their investigation was second to none.
The Police Commission of Inquiry made 78 recommendations, including 300 domestic violence support workers and 30 additional DV liaison officers. How are you going with recruiting for those positions?
Yes, so all of those recommendations are sitting in that reform package with all the other work that we're doing, and they're on strict timeframes. So at the moment we're comfortable with meeting those timeframes. So as soon as some of those are at 3 months, some at 6 months and some at 12 months. So they will be advertised as per the timeframes. I don't know exactly where they're at, but I'm certainly not concerned about it because I know that we are meeting the timeframes.
The body of Gold Coast woman Wendy
Yeah.
was found yesterday by
Yeah.
police. What's your response to that tragic outcome?
Absolutely tragic, absolutely unacceptable. The police had obviously involvement with the family and with Wendy, the mother. It's just hard to understand that we still confront some of these issues. And sadly, I think in today's, in society, you'll always get a component that doesn't matter what you do, it's almost impossible, to control and deal with. It is tragic, and we were hoping that it would not come to that, but sadly it has.
Just a question for the Premier. Just on businesses and individuals, they're having to fork out costs for falling victim to crime. Recently we've just seen a new business in Townsville was broken into overnight. What's your response to that, and is the government looking at finding a way for those victims of crime to be covered by those actions?
Look, I'll get a briefing on what happened overnight, but we don't want to see these impacts that are happening on businesses, and I'd have to get more. I'd have to follow that one up. Yeah.
Is that an issue that you're often seeing or hearing about from community, that businesses are having to fork out costs and having to?
No, that hasn't been raised with me. That's not to say that it isn't an issue out there.
Premier, police procedure dictates that children should only be kept in watch houses for one night unless under extraordinary circumstances. How does the government expect children to be rehabilitated if they're spending up to 15 days, as we saw recently in a case in Mount Isa with hardened criminals?
Well, what we don't want to see children in there for long extended periods of time, but the community also wants to be kept safe. And as I've said, it is community safety is paramount, and that's why we released our 10-point plan in addressing youth crime issues. These issues are incredibly complex. Some children are coming into custody with a whole range of different backgrounds. That's why we are looking at therapeutic models for those children who have those backgrounds. However, we need to be aware that there are some hardened young criminals out there that are causing distress to families, and we recognise that, and that is why we are acting.
Premier, a 73-year-old woman was assaulted in her home at Park Avenue in Rockhampton on Wednesday. Teens lured her out of her home and broke in. What's your reaction here?
Can you say the last bit again, please?
Teens lured her out of her home and then broke in. What's your reaction to those types of things?
Well, as we know, we've increased police around the state. People need to feel safe in their homes, and police will be dealing with those offenders.
While you've been in Townsville, you've had an opportunity, obviously, to speak to maybe some locals here who are dealing with crime firsthand. Has there been any eye-openers for you, I guess, in enlightening the experience that people.
Yeah, and I'm still speaking to people as well, and first and foremost, they understand that our police are doing everything that they possibly can. They are seeing more increased patrols in their areas, which is a good thing. And I'm meeting with a range of people in relation to these youth justice issues.
It's been well over a year since the Youth Justice Task Force began its operations, and this week we've heard that new data shows that half of Queensland kids being sentenced or to detention or probation are back before courts within 12 months. Does that show that the task force is failing or is slow to pick up?
Yeah, well, I had advice the other day that those figures are actually, from a Queensland perspective, the lowest in 10 years. So from a Queensland perspective, they are actually coming down.
The state government says it's building more detention centres, but are they coming soon enough if serious offenders are being let out on bail because there's nowhere to house them?
As I said the other day, the best thing we can do is get these young people a job and get them into work. So when they go into facilities, and if they're old enough, they should actually be thinking seriously about how we can give them employment when they leave. So these facilities are needed because the numbers are increasing, right? So, you raised with me an issue about you don't want them in watch houses. Well, how about they go into detention facilities where they can actually get the support that they need and actually get skills that they need to get a job. So, there's not a one-size-fits-all here, but we need to have suitable accommodation, and that's exactly what our government's doing.
That's often an issue that people raise with the youth justice system, though, that a lot of these young people are going back into detention because it's better than what they have outside of detention. Is that an issue that you admit is existing in the system currently?
It's a very complex issue. I don't think anyone has all of the answers. And, $850 million is being put into dealing with youth justice issues in this state. It is the largest injection of money ever. But we've come from a situation where, 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, the LNP cut a lot of programs. They cut all of the specialist courts, they cut the youth justice conferencing, and we've had to build that up over a period of time. So these things take time, they take a community response, they take more parental oversight as well. It's unfortunate to think that these young people aren't at home in stable families. So we have to look at all of those issues, okay? Very complex. Okay?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So just one more thing.
Oh, yeah.